It's the best first class in the world. In fact, it's beyond first class. Welcome to Singapore Suites. We're about to spend 22 hours experiencing the ultimate luxury in the sky, and you're coming along.
Hello, jet setters. Welcome to Singapore. We're about to head to New York City with Singapore Airlines and the Airbus A380 in their suites class. This is supposedly better than first class.
Singapore is certainly one of the world's greatest cities, and Singapore Airlines does its best to reflect this vibrant city-state. From here, we'll fly 13 hours to Frankfurt, where we'll take on fuel and a new crew. We'll then fly onward for another 7.5 hours to reach New York City.
Is it strange to be going to the airport 8 hours before our flight? Yeah, a little bit, but you've been watching these videos for a while. You know we're a little strange.
We're here. This is so exciting. We've been looking forward to this trip for a very long time. Any aviation fan has this flight on their bucket list.
Check-in was a breeze, and the next time we see these bags, we'll be in New York.
Our flight goes through Frankfurt. We're stopping in Frankfurt, but we have one boarding pass all the way to New York. So we'll get out tomorrow morning for an hour or two while the plane refuels in Germany and then make our way on to New York.
This is my first time at Changi Airport, so I'm super excited to explore. It gets named the best airport in the world. We've only showed up 8 hours before our flight, so we have plenty of time.
The Jewel is a shopping mall located landside at Changi Airport, and it was for sure our first stop. At 7 stories tall, the Rain Vortex is the world's tallest indoor waterfall.
This thing's unbelievable.
The trains whisk passengers right by the waterfall, offering unforgettable views. In addition to that crazy waterfall, there are plenty of restaurants and shops at the Jewel. You could easily fill a day here.
With all of that, it's no wonder this place keeps getting named one of the best airports in the world. You think we should try to make an Airports Revealed episode about it?
That would be amazing.
I'm looking at you, Changi. Well, let's head back to T3 and check out the lounge.
Although we'd already checked in, we realized there was a completely separate entrance for first class, so we headed that way.
I think you're not meant to walk up here, but we're getting our steps in before this long trip.
Yeah, frankly, we didn't know about this until just a few minutes ago. As Suzanne said in an earlier video, we're not fancy.
Once we were inside, since we checked in earlier, we were immediately whisked to a private immigration line that took literally no time at all.
It's like our own mini private airport.
As suites passengers, we'd also been invited to Singapore Airlines' most exclusive lounge, but we're taking you inside too. It's called the Private Room, and it's really a lounge within a lounge. This place is special. It's over-the-top luxurious in here. There's plenty of room, and it's also artfully appointed. Unlike some first-class lounges, it's understated. There are snacks laid out, a bar, and a dining room. Everything on this extensive menu is included with your ticket. You can have as much of it, or all of it, as you want. But spoiler alert, you better save room for food on board too. We started with some caffeine. Even that's special.
Look at this latte.
Did somebody say Wagyu satés? Our flight leaves at midnight, but we've officially decided not to pay any attention to the clock at all, so let's just call this lunch. A salad, the dim sum delights, and the lamb were all on point. After some more relaxing, we decided to head out into the terminal to explore a bit. It's impossible to be bored at Changi Airport. Spotting the airplanes is always a good idea, and as great as this A350 looks, we couldn't catch a glimpse of the giant A380 we'll be on tonight. The 6 suites on the upper deck of this A380 are going to blow your mind. And if you're traveling with a companion, be sure to book seats 1A and 2A like us, or 1F and 2F. Row 3 offers solo seats. Back upstairs, we toasted Singapore Airlines.
I have been fortunate enough to be inside the Air France First Class Lounge, Emirates, Etihad, Lufthansa. This is hands down the best first class lounge I've ever experienced. As relaxing as that was, it's time for the real fun to start. Let's board this bird. It's late here, about 11:30 at night. Now, if everything goes according to plan, We should land in New York in about 24 hours.
Our flight is operated by the Airbus A380, but not for long. This flight, SQ26, will soon be on board a Boeing 777. Unfortunately, that aircraft does not offer suites.
Hopefully we can see the plane in Frankfurt, because there's nothing out there right now.
With 475 seats on this airplane, the gate area was full. But boarding began right on time, and we made our way on board. We were quickly welcomed on board and shown to our amazing home for the next 22 hours. And when I first saw it, I could not believe my eyes. This space is absolutely incredible. We'd booked seats 1A and 2A, and a flight attendant had lowered the walls separating these two suites to create even more room than we could have imagined. And this chair, well, it's extremely comfortable with plenty of recline. It even swivels for takeoff and landing.
How is this real?
Row 3 offers solo seats. Back to the action though. Is it really first class without some champagne? This suite really does have it all. And with more than 20 hours in here, there'll be plenty of time to explore it all. This closet is large enough for a carry-on bag. There are also hangers, so your clothes can remain crease-free. This knee wall separating our two suites will actually turn into the bed overnight. Here in Suite 1A, there's a TV in front of you. This is for taxi and takeoff. But this larger screen, well, that's where I spent most of the time watching.
It's my pleasure to welcome you aboard the Singapore Airlines A380 to Frankfurt and onwards to New York. Our flight time tonight will be 13 hours. From this position we push back a relatively short taxi for a takeoff to the north, and of course you can follow the progress of the flight on your in-flight entertainment system.
The thing about an A380 departure is that the airplane just kind of floats off the runway. There's really nothing else like it in the sky. There are 2 lavatories for the 6 passengers in suites, and they're beautifully appointed, not to mention massive. I shut the door to my suite and settled in with some warm nuts, a glass of Shiraz, and connected to the Wi-Fi. Then I put on the provided noise-canceling headphones and unfolded this absolutely massive TV screen. At 32 inches, it's the right size for this tremendous space. And there were plenty of options for this entire trip. Singapore Airlines is rightfully famous for its catering. In addition to this lengthy menu, up to 24 hours before your departure, it's possible for passengers to book the cook. And with literally hundreds of options to choose from across the 5 or 6 meals we'll have on this journey, it was simply too much.
Booking the cook is just too overwhelming.
I decided to wait and order on board. But the menu was so overwhelming, I just decided to go with the chef's recommendations. Here's a pro tip. Never turn down garlic bread on a plane, especially from Singapore Airlines. The marbled duck confit terrine was rich. And the chestnut velouté was nice too, but let's face it, anything with truffles is just on another level. Suzanne had the buttered chicken from the Book the Cook menu, and it was, she said, delicious. And my chicken supreme was so over the top that by this point, I had to turn down dessert. And speaking of turning things down, at this point, about an hour and 45 minutes after we'd taken off, it was time for bed. And I've never seen anything like this on a plane. This has to be the biggest bed in commercial aviation. Naturally, suites passengers are provided with pajamas, which Suzanne had a lot of fun modeling. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. This space is huge and so well laid out. Also, there's nothing confining the space here. It was without a doubt the most comfortable bed I've ever experienced in the sky.
I think we can agree this is one of the most amazing aviation experiences we've ever had. Is that right?
It's the top for sure.
But for now, it's time for bed. It's pretty late. See you guys in the morning.
We fell asleep over the Bay of Bengal, and I woke up 6 hours later over Iran.
There are a lot of really great first-class seats out there in the sky these days, especially on the A380, but none are like this. This is a whole room, especially with these two suites next to each other. That was a fantastic night's sleep. But for now, I think I'm ready to get up and start the day or the night or whatever time it is. I don't know.
The crew brought around a roast beef sandwich and offered a whole list of other snacks if I wanted anything. I didn't. I watched some more in-flight entertainment. Soon, Suzanne woke up, starting with tea and shortbread. The tea menu, by the way, is 3 pages long.
It is always a treat to have a lay-flat seat on an airplane, but this is in a whole other category. I mean, this is a true bed, like another level for sure.
We eventually asked to have the beds taken down. Not only do passengers get pajamas and slippers, but also an amenity kit filled with high-end stuff that would no doubt go a long way to give me a youthful appearance. Suzanne's was equally filled, but she doesn't need any of it. In addition, you'll find even more amenities in the bathroom drawers. And about 2 hours before we were scheduled to land in Frankfurt to refuel, breakfast came around. Now, I don't always have champagne at breakfast, but as the old saying goes, when in Singapore sweets, it paired really well with a muesli. But these eggs, well, they were the most perfectly cooked eggs I can remember in the sky. And Suzanne really enjoyed her nasi padang.
There's really nothing like eating breakfast in your pajamas with champagne on a plane. We are the luckiest people, for sure.
We really are. Please never mistake any criticism on this channel for a lack of gratitude. We love the opportunities this channel has allowed for us, and we pinch ourselves that this is real life. At the same time, we want to provide honest opinions in case these experiences are ones you're considering for yourself.
We're about an hour to Frankfurt. Now, when we land there, we'll have to get off the plane. We'll get a new crew. But to prove that it's the same plane, I think some of you may know what I'm about to do. Yeah, that's the napkin from our Delta flight.
You can book this trip like we did, all the way from Singapore to New York, or only book one of the 2 legs. Singapore Airlines also offers a non-stop flight between the 2 cities. In fact, it's the world's longest, but there's no first class on that one. Soon, though, it was time to turn my chair back around as we landed for our short break in Frankfurt. We temporarily said goodbye to this space and expressed gratitude for the opportunity to stretch our legs.
So we try our best not to film crew, but I have to say, this crew was excellent. Like, so friendly, so attentive, like, beyond.
Is that a spoiler alert on the JebScore for service?
I think so, but we still have another flight to go.
Could all change.
The first thing I had to do was check out this massive machine. The Airbus A380 may just be one of the most remarkable pieces of engineering in the world. I'm so very sorry they weren't as commercially successful as we all hoped they'd be.
We have access to the Senator Lounge as a result of our suites class tickets here. It's a good way to pass some time while we wait to board.
The lounge offered spectacular views of the action out on the ramp. The Frankfurt Airport is an incredible place, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do it. We're going behind the scenes here very soon. As nice as the lounge was, we didn't linger. In a feat of German efficiency, boarding began an hour after we'd walked off the plane.
Heading upstairs. Feels like home.
And as familiar as the space was, it looked even better in the daylight.
Decided to switch seats this time.
Welcome aboard our flight using 26, a continuing service from Frankfurt to New York's JFK. My time, 7 hours and 25 minutes. If you're interested to monitor the progress of our flight, you can do so on your in-flight entertainment system.
We were back on the runway and into the sky in what felt like no time at all. Our climb out of Frankfurt was smooth, and within minutes, one of my favorite aspects of flying with Singapore appeared.
This is what I've been most excited about. Chicken satay.
And let's face it, it's all about this sauce. And of course, the wine and cocktails on board are pretty special too. Suzanne had a Singapore Sling, and I ordered a 2008 Bordeaux. But I needed to head back to my old seat, Suzanne's new one, 1A, to check on something. Sure enough, there it is. Maybe the most well-traveled Delta napkin ever. When it was time for lunch, the purser encouraged me to have a taste test between the 2008 Bordeaux I'd tried before against the 2005 they were also serving. In the end, the 2008 won out for me, but I'm certainly no expert. What I can say definitively, though, is that this caviar was an indulgent and delicious way to begin this lunch. Suzanne opted to start with a beetroot-stained smoked salmon. Now for my main course, I went with the Kai Krapao. Now this Thai-style stir-fried chicken wasn't too spicy for my sensitive palate, but instead was a delicious balance that really wouldn't be out of place in any great restaurant. Suzanne had the Savoy cabbage beef roulade, which she thoroughly enjoyed. Now this presentation was truly impressive, given that we're 40,000 feet up. For dessert, I had the chocolate and coffee tart, while Suzanne went for the pastry filled with poppy cream. We decided to lay down again for a few more hours before one last meal on board, cheeseburger sliders, a reminder that we'd soon be back in the United States. And that means it's time for the JebScore. This unscientific system is a way to rate experiences like this in a completely subjective way. Any guesses on what the score is going to be? Drop them in the comments below. Here goes. First, the lounge. Well, given the fact that I said it was the best of all, that means 5 stars. The seat isn't so much a seat as a room in the sky. With literally nothing to complain or even critique, that's 5 stars here. The food was indulgent, well presented, and delicious. 5 stars there too. The in-flight entertainment was delivered on a massive screen, and there was no shortage of movies and shows to watch. Plus, we had Wi-Fi the whole time. 5 stars here. Finally, as Suzanne hinted, the crews were unbelievable. Now, our first one was slightly more proactive than our second, but the crew on this leg was still world-class. That's another 5 stars. So that leaves Singapore Airlines Flight SQ26 from Singapore to New York JFK via Frankfurt in suites class with 25 out of 25 points. I'm so sorry this flight will no longer be on board this special airplane with these unrivaled suites. This is certainly one of our most treasured aviation experiences ever.
Between now and the next time, see you in the sky.
Singapore, the city of malls, apparently. I made that up. That's not official.
She's not wrong, though.
There's a lot of malls.
A lot of malls. There are a lot of young men posing for very serious photographs all through here. Maybe it's for their Tinder profiles?
It's a pajama party.
You look so cute with your little eye thing on.